Hello everyone, my name is Daniel Diaz and this is my feature video for FFQR-20 where I containerize the two backend services we have running in Java Spring Boot with a Mongo database and an Angular front-end web application into Docker containers and spin them all up with a docker-compose. The project isn't mature enough to deploy at this stage, but this is the last week of our senior project sprint and wanted to give something that could be run fairly simple on the product owner's machine. So this was my attempt at doing that and first attempt with Docker. So let's take a look. I created a repo specifically for these containers, FFQR containers Spring 2019. It's in the project repository. This definitely will definitely need to evolve, but it's enough for right now. So docker-compose is in here. We have Mongo. We pull the basic image 3.4 from Docker Hub. The food service, which I'm building it locally from this repo. So when you clone this repo, when you do docker-compose build, which is not going to be in this demo because I already built it, it'll look for the root directory in the food service directory for a Docker file. It'll map the host port 9090 to the container port 9090, and it depends on the Mongo service. Specifically because the URI here, it's not sufficient to leave it as localhost port 20, whatever the Mongo port is, because it's in a separate container. So we have to actually give it the name of where that container is. So that's why I named the Mongo up here and I pass it to as the MongoDB URI and then the database name. The same thing with the questionnaire service. We're building it locally, mapping 9080 to 9080. Same thing with Mongo. The web application, since I didn't have the reason I'm able to do this is because I was able to package the latest jar in each one of these. This is the latest jar, so it builds the so the Docker file is gonna look for that jar, package it up, it passes the initial argument to load the database, and it sends it off on its way. Ideally, these would all be as Docker images at dockerhub.com, but they allow you one private repo for free. And in this case, I used it for the questionnaire web app, which was the largest. So when we run the docker-compose, and I'll provide the login credentials for this. For $7 a month, you can load them all. You can load up to 7 Docker images, and then you don't need to clone the repo. That docker-compose file will be able to pull all the images from Docker Hub and build it accordingly. But to get back to the docker-compose, pulling that image, so it's going to go to Docker Hub. We have to be logged in to do this, which I am logged in as FIU FFQR, and it maps the host port to the container port, and it depends on the previous 3: Mongo database, questionnaire service, and the food service to be finished. Okay, and then let's take a look. So here I'm in the clone version of the container, and all I'm going to do is now docker-compose up. And it's executing all 4 at the same time. Well, not at the same time. So we got the questionnaire web app loading. In between here, the questionnaire service and food service and Mongo. Here the food service is starting to load the food items. It finished loading 84 food items to the nutrient list. Here are 25 questionnaires added to the collection. So basically it looks like everything is ready. When we've reached the compiled successfully, since the web app is last, it means that I should be able to, just by running that one command, I should be able to spin up the local host. Yeah. So valid 1. I made the 25 default valid questionnaires, going from valid 1 to valid 25. Because as soon as you submit one, it's considered submitted. And then just skip the rest. 3 servings of water. And then a lot of breast milk. Submit. And we have our calculations here. All live. Click off from the pop-up. Submit it successfully. Valid 1 is now submitted. And that's all from the database. And that's it. Fully containerized. For maintenance, this is really the last week. I didn't have much time to work on this. I'll detail it in the report, but ideally we would want all of these in Docker Hub, so we don't have to manually upload the new jar here every single time for the food service and questionnaire service. So now if you update a jar, you have to build it with Maven and then drop it in here and then make a pull request. That doesn't happen with the web app, because the web app is directly from Docker Hub, so you would just push to Docker Hub whenever you build the website. And ideally, all 3 could surely benefit from automated Docker publishing on builds, on like builds to master. So that's something a little bit more advanced towards the end of this project. But this is enough now for at least guarantee a workable environment for the next team members who take on the project, and allows the product owner to play around with this version without having to deploy it or have any out-of-pocket costs at this point. Thank you very much. I hope we can close it. By Control-C, it tries to go gracefully, and then you always try to do a docker compose down to remove the images. Good. Thank you.